Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode with Beyond the Mind with Ani. Today, we're diving into one of the most misunderstood, most triggering, and most needed conversation of our time: the collapse of polarity, the sacred connection between the masculine and the feminine. We live in an age of empowerment, independence, and gender equality, all essential steps in human evolution. But somewhere along the way, something subtle and dangerous has happened beneath that surface. Men are becoming softer and less grounded and often emotionally absent. Women are becoming stronger, more capable, and more independent, but also deeply tired. It's as if the natural current between us, that magnetic pull of polarity, has been reversed, and we're paying the price in love, attraction, and in emotional fulfillment. That collapse of polarity we've confused with equality and with sameness. In the pursuit of fairness, we have erased that sacred differences that once magnetized us towards one another. The feminine essence, the energy of intuition, creation, and emotional depth has been shamed as too much and too sensitive or too irrational. The masculine essence of energy of direction, protection, and purpose has been shamed as toxic, controlling, or patriarchal. And so many women have armored up to survive. They have learned to lead, to provide, and to protect, not because they wanted to, but because they had to. And meanwhile, many men have withdrawn, silenced their instinct, and learned to suppress their natural drive, afraid of being labeled as aggressive or insensitive. And the result? A generation of people who are exhausted from living out of alignment with their core essence. You see it everywhere. A woman running a company, handling her finances, and holding her emotional world together. But when she goes on a date, she cannot relax. Her nervous system doesn't trust the masculine to lead, because experience taught her that leadership often means disappointment and control. And a man who is kind, emotionally intelligent, and non-threatening, yet he struggles to inspire attraction. He's been told to be sensitive, but without that grounded confidence of mature masculine, his presence feels very uncertain. Even in friendships and workplaces, polarity plays out. A team led by only masculine structure without feminine intuition feels cold and transactional. A group overflowing with emotional expressions but lacking directions feels chaotic and unproductive. The dance between these energies isn't about gender, it is about energetic balance. Every person, regardless of their gender identity, carries both masculine and feminine currents. But when they collapse into sameness, life loses its spark. The deeper danger isn't just in relationship, it is in consciousness itself. When we lose polarity, we lose the creative tension that fuels growth, desire, and vitality. The masculine energy in all of us seeks to build, to aim, to create direction. The feminine energy in all of us seeks to nurture, to feel, to flow. And without direction, the feminine drowns in emotions. And without feeling, the masculine becomes disconnected. When we unite them, presence meets passion. That's when relationships ignite, they flourish, and the society evolves with soul. For thousands of years, patriarchy glorified the masculine and suppressed the feminine, not just in gender, but in energy itself. The masculine logic, action dominated, was seen as power, and the feminine emotions, intuition, softness was seen as weakness. Men were told to conquer, provide, and suppress emotions, and women were told to obey, nurture, and silence desire. It wasn't just societal, it was psychological. Generations grew up believing that strength meant control and that surrender meant submission. Then came the revolution. Women rose, and rightly so. We fought for education, choices, freedom, and safety in the world that had long denied us both voice and value. But here's the paradox. In fighting for equality, many women had to become the very thing they were rebelling against. We learn to armor up, to hustle, to lead, to build empires, but forget how to receive love, to protect ourselves so fiercely that no one could truly enter. And men, they were shamed for being too strong, too assertive, too masculine. So they began to soften, hesitate, and question, what if even it means to be a man? How do you lead without being called controlling? And how do you pursue without being labeled as predator? Now we're stuck in this strange inversion. Men are afraid to lead and women are afraid to soften. And both secretly crave the same thing. Polarity, that electric magnetic tension that makes love feel alive, where the masculine direction meets the feminine flow. Without polarity, relationships become flat. Equal, maybe, but lifeless. Safe, but uninspiring. And no one knows why they feel so disconnected in the world that seems to have given them everything. Look around you. You will see these symptoms everywhere. Men are ghosting instead of communicating, not always out of cruelty, but out of confusion. They don't know how to express truth without fear of hurting feelings or being misread. So they vanish. Women chasing connection while pretending not to care, playing it cool because vulnerability now feels like weakness. They send the I'm fine text while dying inside for a real conversation. And dating apps are filled with polished profile and spiritual buzzwords, alignment, energy, high value, etc. Yet most people are emotionally unavailable, terrified of depth. We call it modern dating, but what it really is a symptom of polarity collapse. Men have become more emotionally aware, yes, but many have lost their grounding. They speak of holding space, but forget that the masculine is the space, direction, protection, and presence. And women have become powerful beyond measures, financially, intellectually, emotionally, but many are stuck in overdrive, unable to rest, to receive, to trust that someone else can hold them. So relationships feel like power struggle. The woman leads by default, organizing, deciding, initiating, while quietly resenting the lack of masculine direction. And the man follows, agreeing, accommodating, while slowly losing attraction for the woman who's carrying both energies. Attraction fades not because love disappears, but because energy flips. The feminine stops flowing, the masculine stops holding, and what is left is a partnership that feels more like friendship, safe but sparkless, and deep down both ache for something ancient, something sacred. A love where she can melt without fear and he can rise without shame. So how do we bring this back into balance in real life, not just in theory? It starts within. Before it can flow between two people, when your inner feminine and your inner masculine are in harmony, you attract relationships that mirror that balance. But when one dominates, you either chase or withdraw, creating the very dynamic you fear. Let's break this down. So for women, it is reclaiming the feminine without losing power. Many women today live in permanent survival mode, making decisions, paying bills, managing emotions, keeping everything afloat. That's masculine energy on overdrive. It is strong, yes, but it is also exhausting. To reclaim your feminine doesn't mean to be small. It means returning to your flow. For example, instead of trying to fix every situation, pause and feel before you act. When you date, allow space for man to lead a little. Ask yourself, can I trust his direction instead of assuming he'll fail? Or maybe instead of saying, I don't need anyone, say, I'm open to being supported. Feminine energy attracts through magnetism, not control. It's the difference between forcing and allowing. And for men, reclaiming the masculine without becoming toxic. The world has told men for years that strength equals oppression. So many retreated from their natural power. But the truth, the world still needs grounded, present, and dependable men, not passive ones. For example, take initiatives. Don't wait for her to ask for help or express interest first. Lead with clarity and integrity. If you're unsure, say so. Confusion kills polarity. Build emotional resilience. Strength doesn't mean silence, it means stability in the storm. A truly masculine man doesn't dominate, he anchors. He makes the feminine feel safe enough to open up. In relationships, when polarity collapses, they feel like flat friendship or constant battles. But when it's alive, there's tension, spark, and that deep respect. For example, if both partners are in their masculine, planning, leading, controlling, arguments erupt. If both are in their feminine, emotional, indecisive, and passive, nothing moves forward. When one holds direction and the other one brings a flow, that dance begins. That's polarity, not inequality, but complementarity. Here's the truth. The modern world is confusing polarity even more. Some men are embracing traditionally feminine traits, softness, vulnerability, emotional openness. That's good. Truly, the world needs more men who are emotionally aware. But here's the catch. Many stop leading, taking initiative, or holding boundaries, and society calls that equality. It is not. Men today are often praised for being sensitive and non-toxic, but sensitivity without direction can be destructive. For example, men who say, I respect women, but ghost instead of communicating. Men who refuse to make decisions in dating, leaving women to lead entirely. Men who avoid conflict so completely that relationship stagnates. This is not true equality. It's a shift in responsibility that often leaves women exhausted, having to take responsibility for both sides of the energies. Because men aren't stepping into that container, women double down. Leadership, independence, emotional control. For example, women paying all the bills, making all the plans, organizing all social connections. Women leading conversations, setting emotional tone, making every decision in dating. Women suppressing their softness or their playfulness to appear strong. And the result? Feminine energy is depleted, attraction fades, and relationship feels transactional. Toxic masculinity, which is aggression, emotional suppression, dominance without care. Toxic femininity is over-accommodating, manipulation, using softness as weapon. And modern dating shows both in subtle ways. Men ghost or avoid responsibility while framing it as honesty. Women chase, overgive, or shame themselves for being too demanding. The balance of desire, polarity, and mutual respect gets lost. The equality is not sameness. It is complementarity. Feminine men can rise without neglecting leadership or their boundaries, and resilient women can embody strength and softness, allowing themselves to receive as well as give. For example, a couple where he plans the trip, she decorates the space. A man opens the door, she laughs and enjoys that gesture without feeling obligated to fix the plan. Energy flows, attraction thrives, power is balanced, not stolen, and more importantly, not suppressed. So here's where it gets real. It's one thing to understand the imbalance, but it is another to actively reclaim polarity in our life, both within yourself and in your relationship. For women, please stop trying to do it all in your relationships. Yes, you can be independent. You can do it. You are ambitious and strong, but you don't always have to lead. Let him lead, even in small ways, because it is not weakness. It creates polarity. Reflect on your masculine armor. Are you always solving, controlling, or fixing? That energy has its place, but it can push men out or crush feminine energy in connection. And for men, emotional openness is amazing, but don't confuse softness with lack of responsibility. Being gentle doesn't mean being passive. Women are craving direction, protection, and initiatives. Example, a man who says, "I've got us," takes action without being controlling in magnetic way. Notice where you're overcompensating, women overfunctioning, men underfunctioning. Energy needs to be balanced. And controversial truth, attraction dies when polarity disappears. It's not about equality in action. It's about complementary energy. You can be equal in respect, influence, and value, but the energy dynamic still matters. Feminine men are rising and some women are exhausted from leading, but mislabeling this as bad men or bossy women misses the real issue. It's energy imbalance, not gender fault. Social media makes this even worse. Couples showcase equality but secretly crave polarity. In reality, energy is mismatched and people swipe endlessly looking for it. The most magnetic relationships aren't about who is stronger or feminist enough. They're about knowing your energy and expressing it authentically and allowing space for the other one to do the same. So, my lovely listeners, let me leave you with this. Polarity is not toxic. It is sacred. The collapse we see today isn't failure. It's an invitation to reclaim it. Ask yourself always, where am I overcompensating in my relationship? Where am I afraid to soften or to lead? What energy am I neglecting in myself that could restore attraction, connection, and joy? Letting him plan the night out, even if you could do a better job. Speaking your truth, but allowing him to hold space for your feelings. Choosing to receive instead of always giving advice or trying to fix things. Every small act of balance, every boundary, every surrender, every assertion is a rebellion against the imbalance that modern culture has normalized. So, I want to thank you for being here, for questioning with me, and for daring to feel your power. If this episode resonated with you, please like, share, and comment, because every woman and man who steps into their authentic polarity helps restore the sacred dance that has been lost for too long. So until next time, stay safe, stay resilient, and always go beyond the mind.